All right, today I want to go over the concept of how money works and what I figured out over the years, being completely broke in some years and actually having a lot of prosperity in others, and then all the in between. Like right now, this is the in between, or maybe a little more on the lesser having. But I do know that mindset does have a lot to play with what's going to happen in the moving forward future. And what I've learned over the years is going to keep me moving forward as far as prosperity would go. And it's not just a wishful thinking, it's because it's what I've seen actually happen. And it's almost like a law. I brought up the book, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. And that book in itself has done so much to help me with my understanding of how making money works as a concept. And this is what I want to talk about. So for instance, let's just say we're going to come up with $100. Okay, so you get a paycheck, you have $100 here, and you were able to go ahead and say, this is after all the bills are paid, this is after your normal expenses are all set aside for things that you're going to be doing for gas and everything coming forward, but you have a little bit extra set aside. And this is the idea behind even the richest man in Babylon, taking some extra money, putting it aside, and let it start to grow. Now, while it's growing, you educate yourself on different ideas and concepts that are out there for money making profit. And what normally happens is when you start to put this money aside and you start to let it grow, what then happens is this money starts to attract more money. And then it attracts actually even bigger money. And this is just more and more as time goes on, it starts to work. Now, the way that this attraction works, though, is that it starts off with, say, like $100. And it comes with the mindset of, okay, I have $100 to invest in something. And the easiest way, in my opinion, to go ahead and make money turn into more money is to take $100, buy something that's worth more, and then taking that item and say, sell it for $150. So all of a sudden, when I get my money back from my investment, I have $150. The other way is, of course, to invest. Or it's even like buying in stocks. If you are buying stocks cheap and you know that the company is going to get more profitable, do better, then you buy 100 shares of a stock. And as time goes on, your 100 shares, when you sell it, turns into 150. It's just a simple concept there. Now, I'd like to share this story particularly, and the reason why this is coming up today is because of the fact that we are now seeing the fruits of what's happening when we have money set aside. And this has happened over and over with real estate, but this is a prime example of we've been wanting to actually get a upgrade on the size of our car. We have a nice size Camry right now. It does a lot of what we need to do. We have a 21-year-old truck, and that does a great job to carry the big stuff around. But the car sometimes is more convenient because it's covered, and something like a maybe CRV or RAV4 or a small SUV would have been better for us, especially because of my e-bike channel. Sometimes I have to throw a couple bikes inside, something that would be easier if it was not exposed. Like maybe on a rainy day, if I'm taking a foldable bike somewhere, it could be easier thrown into an SUV rather than my truck, because I don't move bikes around when it's raining because of them getting wet. But this is just examples. We've been wanting to have it. It's also been on my dream list of my dream vehicles to get either a CRV or a RAV4. One or the other. More preferred leaning toward the RAV4. That's just my preference. We've had both cars, Hondas and Toyotas. But nonetheless, needless to say, we've had an opportunity to get a RAV4 for an very good price. And with the RAV4 being something that we're getting at such a great price, we need to make sure we had a cash payment or to make the payment fast. And that's even what happens with real estate. When you have money, it's a powerful thing when you have liquidable cash. That's why even in the real estate market today, we are still seeing prices go up, but these are actually a lot of times all cash buyers that are continuously making the profits or the potential purchases. And same thing goes with even automobiles. When you're looking ready for a car, those who actually have cash on hand, a lot of times can make a deal a lot faster. Now, I know there's some of you who are working in the auto sales industry that say you'll get a better deal because of financing. If you want a quick buy and you have the cash on hand and you do maybe a private purchase like we're doing, we could actually get a car that's going to be an upgrade for us. And for what we can sell our Camry for when we're done making this purchase, we will actually be upgrading our car and no extra cost, and that is because we have the extra cash on hand. Now, we could potentially, we're trying to see, maybe we could even sell our Camry for more than what we're buying the new RAV4 at, or the RAV4 exchanging at, and see if that's even a possibility because we're having such a great deal from making this purchase. So I wanted to put this in perspective of how money can work for you when you have it on hand, and it works. And I really do see it like this. Imagine if this was like a little worker, and it's sitting on my hand here, and it's just basically saying, hey, what do you want me to do? And basically I say, go ahead and go find me an investment. And what it does, it actually just goes ahead and runs off. And when it comes back, it actually comes back and it has a friend. And then so I had now these two guys, and I say, go ahead and do my next investment. And of course, it's this investment that is going to be working for me is something that I'm based on knowledge. If you send money off to work in something that you don't understand, let's take, for instance, the Bitcoin. A lot of people lost a lot of money in the Bitcoin downfall. After the hype was all going up, they sent their money out and nothing came back for a lot of people. And the same thing happened with stocks. There's been stocks that I've purchased that I didn't understand, that my stock purchasing price for some things just basically flopped, and including real estate. A lot of times I sent my money out to go work for me a couple years back. It came back in huge sums back. Multiples of bills were coming back to us. And then all of a sudden, I sent all of it out to a bigger investment that I didn't understand well, and it all disappeared. So money has this just basic concept of how it works behind it. And there's a philosophy that you gotta have with this, is that I always used to say money doesn't grow on trees. But if you really think of it from a perspective of how money works, you can actually buy an apple, take the seeds, plant it in the ground, or an orange, and as time goes on, these trees start to grow, and when they grow, then they actually do produce more apples or more oranges, taking those apples and oranges, and then you can sell them. Well, all of a sudden, basically money is growing on trees. And it's the same thing. If you have an idea of how to make farming do work well, and you go ahead and buy a orange tree that's already starting to fruit, and you have the place to put it in, and you take care of it, and that $20 investment for the tree then has hundreds of oranges coming out of it, which I've seen trees do that after years go by, then you have this $20 investment that makes hundreds and hundreds of dollars over and over. There are the ideas of how money works is in the basic and most fundamental way you can teach even kids about that, why they want to save, because then when opportunities come around, they can actually take advantage of it. More than anything else, I said in another video earlier about how when the student is ready, the teacher will show. Same thing goes. When the person who is ready, fundamentally understanding how money works, is ready to go, then an investment will come. Again, I'm going to stress, I do highly recommend you read The Richest Man in Babylon. It's not a very long book. It talks a lot about how the money goes up and down, and it's just basically conceptually making money work for you. And if you ever get a chance to read a lot about the history of King Solomon, who was the richest man who ever really lived that is historically been able to be recorded, you will see that he also did a lot of investments, and that you have his record of his life. Actually, I think in the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, talking about how he made investments all the time. And he used a lot of wisdom for what he did. And he was king, of course, so he had a lot of personal power along the way to make money work for him. But there was really interesting on how he made investments with another, I don't know if it was a king or was another leader of another country. He got together with them to invest in boats, and then their ships went off, and then when they came back, then they had more and more riches come to them. Hopefully this is a good idea about how money works. And I'm telling you right now, if you have the opportunity to keep on saving, and once you have, let's say even $1,000 saved up off of your emergency fund and everything else, but you have $1,000 saved up ready to go and invest in something, this is when opportunities then arise for you. And along the way, educate yourself in something you might want to be getting into. If you are a collector and you understand how collecting works for a certain subject matter, certain baseball cards or basketball or football cards or even Pokemon cards, and what investments are good deals, and because you study them up, you can also do that. Now, car flipping is a thing that has been actually very intriguing to me, because I know a lot of people who buy really good deals on cars. In fact, dealerships, that's exactly what they do. They just know how to master this program of getting things and advertising the cars and selling them off, but they're buying something for cheap, selling it for more. And even I have a website called ebuyproducts.com that I bought some of my supplies on there for a lot less in bulk, spent about $20,000 worth of inventory. And as we're selling it through, I potentially can make triple my money back. That's what the idea is behind it. I'm using my YouTube channel to advertise it, and that kind of is helping us bring extra added income as well along the way. And it was because we had the funds on hand. I would not have gone into debt for that opportunity, but I would not have gotten such a great price had I not had cash on hand to invest in that as well. So that's the idea behind today's one. Make your money work for you by sending it out through investments of actually smart ways to do it, and it comes back with friends. And that's how the idea is. That's what interest is as well. So again, that's a great way to teach kids about money. A lot of times they get it very quickly. I've actually seen that happen. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, especially if this has been a little helpful for you, getting your ideas juiced up and thinking about it. Please hit the subscribe button. That'd be very helpful. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.